The following story contains dark and disturbing elements. Reader discretion is advised. Part 1, Fragile Beginnings. In the quaint town of Hollowbrook, there was a peculiar boy named Henry. From birth, he was a fragile child, plagued by a condition that rendered his bones brittle and prone to breaking. His parents, unable to bear the weight of his vulnerability, shielded him from the world, wrapping him in metaphorical cotton wool. They rarely allowed him outside, fearing any slight impact would shatter their beloved son. Henry's isolation and pain birthed a longing for freedom, a yearning to experience life beyond the confines of his protective cocoon. Fate, however, had different plans for him. One fateful evening, as he stared out of his bedroom window, Henry's gaze fell upon a dilapidated building at the edge of town. A sign, barely readable, proclaimed it to be the Temple of Rebirth. Driven by curiosity and a desperate need for acceptance, Henry ventured into the forgotten halls of the temple. Inside, he discovered a hidden cult, the Order of the Fractured Souls. Led by an enigmatic figure known as the Reverend, they worshipped the god of self-sacrifice, embracing pain as a gateway to transcendence. Part 2, A Pact of Fragments. The Reverend, captivated by Henry's fragile frame and tormented spirit, saw in him the potential for a powerful sacrifice, a living testament to the cult's devotion. With whispered promises of strength and liberation, the Reverend convinced Henry to pledge his body and soul to the order. The initiation rites were gruesome, a baptism of agony. Henry's already brittle bones were intentionally broken, one by one, in a macabre ceremony. With each crack, a piece of his humanity fractured, paving the way for something altogether different. As his body mended itself, a metamorphosis began, an unsettling transformation that left Henry's physical form forever altered. Emerging from the shadows of the temple, Henry became Humpty Dumpty, a grotesque figure, his once human frame now fragmented and distorted. His skin was pale, resembling porcelain, and his limbs twisted at unnatural angles. Yet, within those fractured pieces, another worldly strength simmered, fueling Humpty Dumpty's newfound existence. Part 3, A Legacy of Fragments. Word of the cult and its eerie rituals spread like wildfire through Hollowbrook, shrouding the town in a cloak of fear and fascination. The townsfolk whispered of the broken figure that roamed the night, Humpty Dumpty, both a symbol of terror and morbid curiosity. Among those captivated by the legend was a young journalist named Evelyn. Drawn to Hollowbrook by the lure of an unsettling story, she sought to uncover the truth behind Humpty Dumpty and the Order of the Fractured Souls. Evelyn's relentless pursuit brought her closer to the heart of the cult, to the Reverend himself. In her quest for answers, Evelyn stumbled upon the Reverend's darkest secret. The god the cult worshipped, the deity of sacrifice, was not benevolent as they had believed. It was a malevolent entity, feeding on pain and suffering, eager to consume the world. The Reverend's devotion had inadvertently summoned an ancient evil, and Humpty Dumpty was its harbinger. Part 4, A Shattered Finale. Determined to expose the truth, Evelyn confronted the Reverend on the eve of the cult's most sacred ritual, a ritual that promised to unleash the entity upon the unsuspecting town. As she stood before the Reverend, her eyes met Humpty Dumpty's hollow gaze, and a realization struck her with chilling clarity. Humpty Dumpty was not merely a physical vessel for the ancient evil, he was its embodiment. The shattered pieces of his fractured form housed the very essence of the malevolent entity, and his purpose was to bring about the world's demise. The Reverend, consumed by his delusions of power, laughed maniacally as he revealed the true nature of their god. He relished in the chaos that would ensue, believing it to be the ultimate act of devotion. With a twisted smile, he declared, "Behold, the birth of a new era." Evelyn's heart raced as she realized the imminent danger that loomed over Hollowbrook. She had stumbled upon a horror beyond her comprehension, and the weight of her responsibility pressed heavily upon her shoulders. Summoning every ounce of courage, Evelyn lunged forward, aiming to seize the Reverend and halt the cataclysmic ritual. But in her haste, she tripped over a loose floorboard and crashed to the ground. The impact fractured her arm, sending waves of pain coursing through her body. Humpty Dumpty, ever watchful, turned his fractured gaze toward Evelyn. In that moment, their eyes locked, and a sinister understanding passed between them. His twisted grin widened, relishing the pain etched across her face. As Evelyn writhed in agony, the Reverend's triumphant laughter filled the chamber. He believed the sacrifice was underway, oblivious to the fact that his plans were being unraveled by his own creation. In an unexpected twist, Evelyn, driven by her desperation to save Hollowbrook, made a harrowing decision. She reached for her fractured arm, the shards of bone protruding through her flesh, and with a final surge of determination, she snapped it clean. The agony that coursed through Evelyn's body was unimaginable, but she clung to the hope that her sacrifice would disrupt the Reverend's plan. The room trembled, and the air crackled with an unholy energy as her pain merged with the fractured essence of Humpty Dumpty. And then, silence. As Evelyn lay on the cold ground, her vision blurred, she witnessed the Reverend's horrified expression. The ritual had gone awry. The entity, denied its intended vessel, turned its insatiable hunger toward the Reverend himself. With a blood-curdling scream, he was consumed by the very darkness he had sought to summon. Hollowbrook descended into chaos. The ancient evil, free from its confinements, seeped into every corner of the town, infecting the hearts and minds of its residents. The streets, once filled with life, became a haunting graveyard, echoes of screams and twisted laughter reverberating through the desolation. Evelyn, broken and battered, crawled toward the shattered remnants of Humpty Dumpty. In his fractured form, she found solace, a reflection of her own shattered existence. Their intertwined fates had brought about the town's doom, and they were bound to one another in this nightmarish tapestry. As Evelyn's eyes closed, the world around her faded into darkness. Hollowbrook, once a haven of innocence, now lay in ruins, its future consumed by the entity born from the depths of pain and sacrifice. And in the shadows, as the final vestiges of humanity slipped away, a chilling whisper filled the air: Humpty Dumpty had a great fall, and all the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put him together again. The tale of Humpty Dumpty and the cult that glorified self-sacrifice would forever be etched into the annals of horror, a cautionary reminder of the darkness that lurks within the human soul. And Hollowbrook, now a mere echo of its former self, became a haunting monument. If you enjoy these types of stories, please like, comment, and subscribe to this channel. We will be releasing new stories every day. Thanks for watching.